Peace, power, and of course, divine prosperity to my beautiful family. This is ordained metaphysical minister Corbin reporting live. You have just tuned in to one of the greatest universities of our time, which is the Cosmic Christ University, the home of the esoteric and metaphysical knowledge. You see the title, family. History is about to be made in this presentation. Hit the like button. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tune in and enroll. Enroll if you haven't to the Cosmic Christ University. Maybe after this video, I got a feeling we're going to hit 1,000 real soon. After this video, you see where my number's at right now. I got a feeling after this presentation, we're going to hit 1,000 subscribers real soon. Here's why. This presentation is called Cosmic Love Language, a breakdown on spiritual origins and the Zodiacs. How many of you love that Zodiac talk? Be honest. How many of you love to talk about Zodiacs? How many of you know your Zodiac talk? Even if you can't stand hearing about Zodiacs, I want you to hit the like button because no matter who you are, this is going to be a life-changing presentation. To my family, before I even get started, for my family who are going through anxiety, depression, if you have a fear or any type of worries, let me tell you this. This presentation is giving back power. You have heard me say multiple times that we are in the Aquarian age. We have left the Piscean age. We're in the Aquarian age where it's all about you getting your spiritual power. But in order for you to do that, family, you got to leave the anxiety, you got to leave the depression, the stress, the fear, the worry. It has to go bye-bye. Because this presentation here, come closer. This presentation here, never heard anything like it. I promise you. I promise you. This presentation, before I go in, you have never heard anything like it. You are about to receive your spiritual powers, 1. You are about to learn more about this planet, 2. And you're about to learn more about you and your connection to this planet spiritually, 3. Are you ready? I'm a cosmic Christ being, here by way of the true Christ, which is the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. Christ wasn't just one man. We are all Christ beings. But you can only know that, family, once you know who you are. 3 minutes, you ready to go in? Of course you are. Let's go. Evolution as shown in the Zodiac. It is a matter of common knowledge among mystics that the evolutionary career of mankind is indissolubly bound up with the divine hierarchies who rule the planets and the signs of the Zodiac, and that passage of the sun and the planets to the 12 zodiacs of to the 12 signs of the zodiacs marks man's progress in time and space. Therefore, it is not to be wondered at the time in the course of their investigation into the spiritual development of mankind. The writers have also encountered much that deals with the zodiac, which is the boundary of our evolutionary sphere at the present time. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Cosmic Christ University. It's about to get real. I'm going to read that again, and then we're going to keep moving. You always thought you were spiritually different. Some of you always knew you were spiritually different, but you just couldn't get it in your churches or anywhere else. Listen to who you are. It is a matter of common knowledge among mystics. Remember, Christ was a mystic. Let's keep going. It is a matter of the common knowledge. It is a matter of common knowledge among mystics that the evolutionary career of mankind is indissolubly bound up with the divine hierarchies who rule the planets and the signs of the zodiac, and that the passage of the sun and the planets through the 12 signs of the zodiac marks man's progress in time and in space. I feel like I should just read that again. One more time. Thank you for your patience. My beautiful family watching, it is a matter of common knowledge among mystics that the evolutionary career of mankind is indissolubly bound up with the divine hierarchies who rule the planets and the signs of the zodiac, and that the passage of the sun and the planets through the 12 signs of the zodiac marks man's progress in time and space. Therefore, it is not to be wondered at that in the course of their investigations into the spiritual development of mankind, the writers have also encountered much that deals with the zodiac, which is the boundary of our evolutionary sphere at this present time. AKA, how many of you have ran up on somebody or just known somebody and be like, hey, you a Sagittarius, ain't you? Oh my God, how do they know? How do you know? You are bound. You are a slave to your zodiac until you realize that you're not. It's just as simple as that. You are bound. You are enslaved by the zodiac. Whether you're Sagittarius, whether you're Aquarius, Leo, you are bound by that which you claim until you realize that you are not. And I'm going to be explaining this a little bit more down the line. This is why I said in the beginning of the video, if you are going through anxiety, depression, fear, worry, you have to let that go, because now in the age of Aquarius, now in this quantum world, we are receiving our powers back. Christ consciousness beings are receiving their powers back. The churches could not, would not, and they felt like they should not tell you the truth about yourself. But now we're in the age where they cannot hide it from you no more, your spiritual power. And it's my job as a metaphysician minister to let you know who you are respectfully. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I've been doing. So you are bound by your zodiac. That's why it's easy to somebody say, oh, you a Leo. Oh, or you a Taurus. Because you have ways that attribute to your zodiac. It's read upon your, look at your horoscopes. They line so beautifully with you. How do they know? Research the zodiacs and you'll see that you are bound. Before you can talk about an earthly slave master, your zodiacs are your first slave master. And until you realize that they're not, then they are. Let's keep on going. And thank you for your patience. Let's keep on going. So much has been perceived in the memory of nature that sheds light upon obscure passages of the Bible. If you have Google, if you have a pen and pad, I want you, if you don't know, to write down the word obscure. OBSCURE. Let's read that again. So much has been perceived in the memory of nature that sheds light upon the obscure passages of the Bible, that notes have been made from time to time of different points. But how to collect and collate these disassociated writings into a united whole has been a great problem for a long time. Even now, the writers know and feel that they are bringing forth. Even now, the writers know and feel that what they are bringing forth is only a very, very weak attempt to set before the students that great body of facts, which have come to them through the memory of nature. They feel, however, that this will give a new and more profound meaning to the old symbol, and that by passing on what has been found, they put themselves in line to receive more light. I want to read that again. To my theologians, pastors, preachers, reverends, bishops, all those, you have and could only give what you knew exoterically. But you yourself, theologians, knew that what you were giving to the people were weak. It was tainted. It wasn't the 100% raw, authentic teachings of Christ. And you, by theologians, and I thank you for watching, even you yourself can admit that you knew there was going to be a time where all was going to be revealed. It was prophesied. You just whispered about it amongst your theologian selves. Let's read that again, and I thank you so much for your patience. I truly do. So much has been perceived in the memory of nature that sheds light upon the obscure passages of the Bible, that notes have been made from time to time of different points. But how to collect and collate, that's COLLATE, these dissociated writings into a united whole has been a great problem for a long time. Listen. Even now, the writers know and feel that what they are bringing forth is only a very, very weak attempt to set before the students that great body of facts which have come to them through the memory of nature. They feel, however, that this will give a new and more profound meaning to the old symbol, and that by passing on what has been found, passing by it now, they put themselves in line to receive more light. Let's keep on going. Concerning the future evolution of planets, the Rosicrucian cosmoconception. Concerning the future evolution of planets, the Rosicrucian cosmoconception. I want to stop there. Now, y'all have been letting rappers and you've been letting people who don't know about the Knights of Templars, Skull and Bones, which is totally separate in my eyes from the Knights of Templars and the Rosicrucians. So let's just focus on those two. You have let people who don't know about the Knights of Templar, who don't know about the Rosicrucians founded by Christian Rosicrucian, don't know that these people were the ones that held the truth about who Christ was, held the knowledge about where the true people of Christ came from. Some of you are still in church and do not know that Christ had a daughter, that him and Mary had a daughter. That secret is still kept, and for what? A lot of people keep the fact that Yeshua, the one you call Jesus, had a whole royal bloodline that came from Ethiopia. Everybody wants to keep this on the hush. For what? Why? Concerning the future evolution of planets, the Rosicrucian cosmo conception, and that's another book. That is a book. I want you guys to PDF. Rosicrucian, that's spelled Rosicrucian, Cosmo, COSMO, Conception, CONCEPTION. You can find that book, PDF it. It's a whole library on what the Rosicrucians really represent. But let's keep on going. I want to thank you for your patience. Concerning the future evolution of planets now, listen to this. The Rosicrucian cosmoconception teaches on page 256 that when the beings upon the planet have evolved to a sufficient degree, the planet becomes a sun. Oh yeah, what, 13 minutes? Perfect number to start this. Concerning the future evolution of planets, we are people, multidimensional beings on this planet. We are at an age where our planet and us in this planet are about to evolve. You might want to listen up. Concerning the future evolution of planets, the Rosicrucian cosmoconception teaches on page 256 that, and I quote, when the beings upon the planet have evolved to a sufficient degree, the planet becomes a sun, the fixed center of the solar system. When the beings there have evolved to a still greater degree, and consequently it has reached its maximum of brilliancy, it breaks up into a zodiac and becomes, so to speak, the womb of a new solar system. Thus the great host of divine beings who, until then, were confined upon that sun gain freedom of action upon a great number of stars whence they can affect in different ways. Do I need to read that again? Some are saying yes. I'm hearing a lot of yeses. All right, so let me. Okay. That's a lot, right? This is you. This is your truth. This is why I tell you it's time to leave the depression, the stress. You worrying about illusions. These are illusions. Us together, we are a collective. Some of you I remember going to school with, not school on this planet, but in a spiritual school where our teachers were divine masters. But guess what? Now we are the teacher's family, and we must awaken the planet to their truth. This is nothing new. This has been going with each epoch, each age, each evolution. It's just our time in this age of Aquarius, and a great time to be in. So I want to read that again and hit the like button and enroll. Tell somebody to come on in and enroll with us. This is your truth. Now let's read that again. Let's read that again. When the beings, hold on, let's start here. And I quote, when the beings upon the planet have evolved to a sufficient degree. Think about our divine masters. Think about the ones who came before us when I read this. Think about the ones who came before us before I read this. Now think about you. Now think about the ones who's going to come after you. Let me stop there. I got time today, family. I want you to think about this and think about when you hear the ascending masters, the Great White Brotherhood, the spiritual Great White Brotherhood. Think about this. The beings that are still here, avatars who are here for us, Maha Avatar Babaji and people like that. Think about this. I'm going to read this again, of course, but think about the ancestors from the past. Now think about you. Think about the next evolution. This is where we're at. We're all one simultaneously is what I'm saying. Let's read this again. Thank you. I keep saying it, but I truly thank you because if you're tuning and watching to this, you are receiving your powers. I'm just getting started. Let's read this again. And I quote, when the beings upon the planet have evolved to a sufficient degree, the planet becomes a sun, the fixed center of the solar system. When the beings there have evolved to a still greater degree, and consequently it has reached its maximum of brilliancy, it breaks up into a zodiac and becomes, so to speak, the womb of a new solar system. I'm going to leave that one there for you to think about later on. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. Thus, a great host of divine beings who, until then, were confined upon that sun, gained freedom of action upon a great number of stars, whence they can affect in different ways. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Just like the revelation. No matter how many times I read it, the revelation gets me. Thank you. I'm gonna read that again so I can catch up. The great host of divine beings who until then were confined upon that sun gain freedom of action upon a great number of stars, whence they can affect in different ways. The system which grows up within their sphere of influence, the planets or man-bearing worlds with the zodiac are constantly being worked upon by these forces, but in various ways according to the stage they have reached in evolution. Our sun could not have become a sun until it set out from itself all the beings who were not sufficiently evolved to endure the high rate of vibration and the great luminosity of the beings who were qualified for that evolution. There was a weeding out process. Did you guys hear that? There's a weeding out process. The bad apples from the good apples. The rotten apples from the not rotten apples. Let's hear it together once again. Our sun, the sun that we see right now, our sun could not have become a sun until it set out from itself all the beings who were not sufficiently evolved to endure the high rate of vibration and the great luminosity of the beings who were qualified for that evolution. You are hearing here, some of you for the first time, that there were beings way before us. way before us. All the beings upon the different planets would have been consumed had they remained in the sun. My gosh. The visible sun, however, though it is a place of evolution for beings vastly above man, is not by any means the father of the other planets. As material science suppose, we've been lied to, family. Hit the button. Hit the button. Hit the button. Yeah, hit the button. If you realizing what's been said here, hit the like button if you realize what has been said here. Doing the button. Our sun could not have become a sun until it set out from itself all the beings who were not sufficiently evolved to endure the high rate of vibration and the great luminacy of the beings who were qualified for that evolution. All the beings upon the different planets would have been consumed had they remained in the sun. The visible sun, however, though it is a place of evolution for beings vastly above man, is not by any means the father of other planets, as material science suppose. We've been lied to. Hit the like button if you agree that we've been lied to. On the contrary, it is itself an emanation, Ematation, from the central sun, which is the invisible source of all that is in our solar system. I remember in one of my songs, I said there's a sun behind the sun, and I seen it. I don't care how far you go back in ancient times, there has been proof that there is a sun behind our sun, which is called the central sun. Wait till you hear about what it says about the sun in a minute. And if I got to go back, I don't mind. It's been known for quite some time, family watching, that there is a sun. You see this beautiful sun? There's a sun behind that one. That's the real sun. So when we have eclipse, and some of us out gathering and watching the eclipse, that energy you feel that's radiating, even if just a little, that is coming from the true sun, the real sun. That's the spiritual sun. That's the real sun, family. Watch this. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'm going to run this back right quick. The visible sun, however, though it is a place of evolution for beings vastly above man, is not by any means the father of the other planets, as material science supposes. On the contrary, it is an emanation or emanation, Ematation, from the central sun, which is the invisible source of all that is in our solar system. Quote, end quote. Our visible sun is but the mirror in which are reflected the rays of energy from the spiritual sun. The real sun is as invisible as the real man. Holy Snapple juice. At 23 minutes, do you know what this means, family? Watch it. I don't want to call this sun fake. Who am I to call this sun fake? Because it is still a giver of life. But in the sense, I am saying that it is a copycat behind the authentic. So as long as we're in this physical shell and living on this physical earth, we're going to be protected by this physical sun. But once we really, through transcending or just elevating our own power through meditation and going within, that's when we experience the real sun. There's a sun behind the sun. I just want to get a quick update on my people who talk about depression and stress and fear. My family who I love, this is yet another reason why I say leave it all behind. All this is about to come to us in abundance, this power to have access to all this in real time on this planet. But if you are stuck on stressing and worrying about situations and problems that, to be honest, 99% of them don't even concern you. You just attach your attention to something and then you are now claiming that as your own. Our visible sun is but the mirror in which are reflected the rays of energy from the spiritual sun. And you can see that sometimes when you look up. You can kind of see the outline. If we're drawing something, you can kind of see that it looks like it's an outline of something behind it. For those who are, illustrators, the sun be given another sun behind it vibes. It's giving me there's another sun behind it vibes. And now it's being confirmed. And I'm going to read that once again and thank you always for tuning in. Hit the like button. Tell a friend to tune in. I'm only 25 minutes in. I'm probably going to stop at an hour. Our visible sun, once again, quote, our visible sun is but the mirror in which are reflected the rays of energy from the spiritual sun. The real sun is as invisible as the real man. Where's the real man at? Easy, within you. Understand? As the real sun is hidden, so is the real man and woman is hidden. I want to say that one more time before I go in. As the real sun, the sun behind the sun is hidden, so is the man, the true essence, the true soul behind the physical vessel. Let's keep on going. From this teaching, it is apparent that the great spiritual hierarchies, which are now guiding our evolution, have had their training for this path in previous schemes of manifestation. Also, that what they are now doing, we shall someday do for others. Already, the foremost among our race are treading the path of initiation, and have thereby advances into stages far beyond the general status of our present humanity. Now, I just want to stop there yet again. Now, do you understand now that while Christ said he is not a respecter of persons, while Christ said, love thy neighbor, because this is all about group work. This is all about soul work. You out here trying to say that you are better than this person and you feel bad because this person got this and you ain't got that. The whole time we're supposed to come together as a unit. We are leaving the world of duality as we speak, and we're entering back into the realm of unity. We got to work together. We got to love together. We got to build together. We got to make sure our kids are raised in a safe, higher vibration together. Seriously. And once we learn to do that as a whole, as a cosmic family, as multi-dimensional beings that we are, that's when our ancestors, the one from the inner world, the one from the cosmic world, that's when they're going to start popping their heads out more. Why? Because we done the work. Everybody's talking about extraterrestrials and aliens, which are really our ancestors. Why do you expect them to come out here when you haven't done the work yet? When we still beefing with this person over small stuff. When we still killing our own kind or killing any kind over petty stuff. When we still making wars with other countries instead of just coming together and coming together and see how we can just build one another up and uplift this planet. Because once we uplift this planet, then we evolve. You heard what it just says. You heard the process of what happens. So our job is to come together and make sure that we do it right. So when the next generation comes, it evolves even greater, which have us evolving even greater. From this teaching, it is apparent that the great spiritual hierarchies, which are now guiding our evolution, have had their training for this path in previous schemes of manifestation. Also, that what they are now doing, we shall someday do for others. Already the foremost among our race are treading the path of initiation and have thereby advanced into stages far beyond the general status of our present humanity. It has been learned that those who have gone through the Mercurial School, and that is spelled Mercurial, those who have gone through the Mercurial School of the lesser mysteries have graduated from the school of the greater mysteries, are now preparing human evolution for the Jupiter period. They have entered the planet Jupiter by way of one of the moons, which serves as a stepping stone. Others there are, unfortunately, who have gone the other way. Let's read that again. It has been learned that those who have gone through the Mercurial School, Mercurial It's spelled MERC, URIAL. Those who have gone through the mercurial school of the lesser mysteries have graduated from the school of the greater mysteries, and they are now preparing human evolution for the Jupiter period. They have entered the planet Jupiter by way of one of the moons, which serves as a stepping stone. Now it says others there are unfortunately who have gone the other way. Dark side, perhaps? Let's keep on reading. We read in the Rosicrucian Cosmoconception, and once again, if you are really about this spiritual work and knowing your spiritual origins, then write this down or PDF the book. Rosicrucian Cosmoconception. That even, once again, when we read the Rosicrucian Cosmoconception, that even as the whole population of the earth was at one time expelled from the present sun because of their inability to keep up with the vibration of the beings thereon, wow. Let me find out we was kicked out one time. Hey, let's read that again. We read in the Rosicrucian Cosmoconception that even as the whole population of the earth was at one time expelled from the present sun because of their inability to keep up with the vibration of the beings thereon, thus hindering them and being hindered themselves, so also it became necessary in the Lemuria epoch to expel a number of the stragglers from earth. Thus the moon was cast out into space to re-evolve as a satellite around our present planet. I told you guys this was going to be a lot. This is just chapter 1. My students in my master's enrolled. They know how I do with my chapter 1s, and they know how the chapter 2s be. So, thank you. And we're going to read that back again, because we're talking Lemuria now. If you know anything about Atlantis, Atlantis is this so-called underwater civilization. Crystal City. A lot of things in Atlantis were powered by crystals. There was a disaster there in one story, a natural disaster that destroyed everything. In the other story about Atlantis, you hear about the misuse of crystals and the use of dark crystals that destroyed Atlantis. If you watch the Muppet movie by Jim Henson, Dark Crystals, that is at least an 85-90% true Muppet show or Muppet movie. So Lemuria was before Atlantis. And based off my research, and we're talking race, and we're talking color, because a lot of people on this planet, when we're dealing with duality, well, what color was this person? What color was this person? If you research the 7 root races, if you look at H.P. Belansky or Rudolf Steiner or even Edgar Cayce's work, when they talk about the 7 stages of evolution of humanity, the first 2 being spiritual and ether, and then around Lemuria, it's like a dark race. But make no mistakes with my research, Atlantis is mostly all white. White beings from Atlantis. There's a book called The White Goddess. So, and I do believe between Lemuria and Atlantis, this whole thing about race and color and division started with Lemuria and Atlantis. Because if you do your research, I'm about to go back into the presentation, but if you do your research thoroughly, and maybe I have to do a presentation about this, Atlantis, the people in Atlantis, who are a lot of our ancestors, Lemuria as well, the people in Atlantis had slaves, had black slaves, and they were called Rhombodals, Rhombdals, but Google's your best friend. You got a deep dive search on that. But the Rhombodals, Rhoma or Mdals, it's around there. But just Google the Rhombodals, Atlantis, Lemuria, and deep dive search, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's go back in. I thank you for your patience as always. We read in the Rosicrucian cosmoconception that even as the whole population of the earth was at one time expelled from the present sun because of their inability to keep up with the vibrations of the beings thereon, hindering them. Oh, let me read that a bit, because this is powerful. Let me bring that back and make it make sense. Even as the whole population of the earth was at one time expelled, kicked out from the present sun because of their inability to keep up with the vibrations of the beings thereon, thus hindering them and being hindered themselves, so also it became necessary in Lemuria epoch to expel a number of the stragglers from earth. Thus the moon was cast out into space to revolve as a satellite around our present planet. Those unfortunates are gradually degenerating, and the time will come when they will go to the planet Saturn, which is the door to chaos. Thence they will be expelled to interplanetary space to await the time when in a new system there would be a favorable condition for their further evolution. If this, shout out to George Lucas, Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate SG-1, Joseph Campbell, Zachariah Stitchin, my teachers, Delbert Blair, Dr. Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, all of them, Sister Myra, Queen of Fu, everybody, Ashra Kwesi, everybody. I'm stopping because we have people every day that they wake up and like, yo, where's my life going? Like, yo, this just seems like a cycle of nothingness. It's because you have given so much attention to this outside world. You have given this world all of your attention. And if you have read some of my previous videos, you see the consequences of doing that. That's why I bring these videos back and forth. You might get a mind power video, then you're going to get some video about your galactic history or origins. That's what we do here at the university. So that's why I'm so hard on my brothers and sisters of Christ to let them know that just leave the stress alone. Leave the worrying, leave the fear alone. Leave it all alone, because if you don't, you're just creating an illusion to become your reality when it's just nothing but an illusion at the end of the day. This is why this is so powerful, because what you're hearing from the minister is your truth. This is your truth. The truth is you all spiritual. The truth is you one of the ones. You him, you her. Y'all it. Take it from me. When you step inside that power, ladies, when you realize your divine feminine energy comes from Sophia the wisdom and also connects with Lilith and all divine feminine aspects of the divine mother, your energy started going to a higher vibration. Fellas, once you realize that having your balance with the divine feminine doesn't make you any softer, but on the contrary, makes you the strongest of men, reclaiming your divine power masculine, because you have the total balance and understanding the whole, which is divine masculine and divine feminine in within each being on this planet, and uniting that and bringing this world into the prosperity golden age that it's going to be. And where were we at with this? Because it was sounding powerful last time I read. Thus, the moon was cast out into space to revolve as a satellite around our present planet. Those unfortunates are gradually degenerating, and time will come when they will go to the planet Saturn, which is the door to chaos. Thence they will be expelled to interplanetary space to await the time when in a new system there would be a favorable condition for their further evolution. So it's saying that us, at a time that we was with the sun beings, is that what y'all hearing? I'm hearing there was a time that we were out there chilling with the sun beings. But us, who I feel makes sense to say that we are the fallen angels. Obviously, we couldn't get right with the sun beings, and they say we got to get y'all out of here. Y'all not getting it. So we were cast out there, put into a planetary system, which is Earth, until we can evolve into a higher evolution. I got this Beatles song in my head right now. Shout out to John Lennon. Shout out to all the Beatles. Shout out to George Harrison. I hope I'm saying it right. But George Harrison was like, shout out to John, but George Harrison was like really the spiritual Beatle who led them to the Eastern philosophies. So I want to make sure, if I'm not putting respect on the name, then just let me know in the comments what his name was. I feel like it was George Harrison. George Harrison. Maybe, but George. But somebody let me know in the comment section, please. Let's keep on reading. I'll probably give y'all about maybe an hour, like I said, hour, close to an hour. Part 2's coming, you know that much. Let's keep running. Thus, the Zodiac and the planets are as a book in which we may read the history of humanity during past ages, and they also give a key to the future which is in store for us. In the famous Zodiac in the temple of Dendra, spelled Denderah, Cancer is not pictured as we have it in modern days. Cancer, the Zodiac sign, of course. Cancer is not pictured as we have it in modern days. There it is, a beetle or scarab. This was the emblem of the soul, and Cancer has always been known in ancient times, as well as among modern mystics, to be the spear of the soul, the gate of life. In the Zodiac, once the spirits come into rebirth, enter our sublunary conditions. Let's read that again slowly. Cancer has always been known in ancient times, as well as among modern mystics, to be the spear of the soul, the gate of life. In the Zodiac, whence the spirits coming into rebirth enter our sublunary conditions. It is therefore aptly ruled by the moon, which is the planet of fecundation, Fecundation, and it is noteworthy that we find Capricorn, which is its opposite, ruled by Saturn, the planet of death and chaos, who is mystically depicted as the Reaper with his Sikh, and I spell Scythe, and hourglass in hand. Quote, end quote. These two opposite signs are therefore turning points in the soul's career. Cancer and Capricorn, respectively, mark the highest ascent of the sun into northern hemisphere and the lowest descent into the south. All right. let me see where we at. So listen, I'm going to read this again. And for all my Zodiac lovers, we about to do a quick Zodiac breakdown. Now, this breakdown, I want to make sure we're clear on this. In the beginning, I told you do not be bound because as of now, you are a slave to your Zodiac. That's why somebody can run up on you and say, you a Sagittarius, ain't you? Because you are bound by your Zodiacs. You are not meant to be bound by your Zodiacs. Your Zodiacs are the process, time, space, and matter process of human evolution, eventually us reaching the highest part, which is Godhead. But let's read this before I go back down to where we are and start with certain Zodiacs. It is therefore amply ruled by the moon, which is the planet of fecundation, and it is noteworthy that we find Capricorn, which is its opposite. We're talking about Cancer. It is noteworthy that we find Capricorn, which is its opposite, ruled by Saturn, the planet of death and chaos, who is mystically depicted as, and I quote, the Reaper with his Scythe, or Scythe, an hourglass in hand, quote, end quote. These two opposite signs are therefore turning points in the soul's career. Cancer and Capricorn, respectively, mark the highest ascent of the sun into the northern hemisphere and its lowest descent into the south. We observe that during the summer, when the sun is in the sphere of Cancer and an allied sign, fecundation and growth are the order of the day. But when the sun is in the south in Capricorn, we have winter, when nature is dead. The fruits of the summer are then consumed and assimilated by us. As a circle dance of the sun among the 12 signs determine the seasons of the year when direct, causing the germination of myriads. This is deep. Let's keep on going. I'll read this one more time. I want to make sure that we're all together on this. But when the sun is in the south in Capricorn, we have winter when nature is dead. The fruits of the summer are then consumed and assimilated by us. As a circle dance of the sun among the 12 signs determines the season of the year when direct, causing the germination of myriads, myriads, of seeds cast in the earth. Also the mating of the fauna, fauna, which then makes the world alive with the sights and sounds of manifested life, and at another time leaves the world dumb, dull, and drear, in winter's gloom under the sway of Saturn. So by the slower backward movement known as the precession of the equinox, does it produce the great changes which we know as evolution. In fact, this precessional measure of the sun marks the birth and death of races, nations, and their religions. For the pictorial zodiac is a symbolical presentation of our past, present, and future development. Now, I'm probably going to stop with the reading of the zodiacs. And the readings of the zodiacs, and I want you to be clear once again, is not just about one person. The reading of the zodiac is a process, a spiritual process that we go through on this planet to pass certain stages to get to the highest stage of knowing who we are. This is not me, guys, but Capricorn is first. Let me stop doing that. But no, seriously. We're going to start with Capricorn. This is how the book starts, and we're going to work our way down. We're going to work our way down. Now, once again, this is not about one person and their zodiac. This is about our process of what we go through going past the zodiac. So let's go. Thank you for your patience. Capricorn. Capricorn, the goat, is not a goat at all, as we know that animal. Let's read that again. I can't believe I just said that. Capricorn, the goat, is not a goat at all, as we know that animal, but part fish and part goat. Its Saturn rulership and the fact that it receives the sun at the dawn of each new year naturally, by analogy, associates it with the beginning of precessional epochs. It represents the stage in evolution covering transition from fish through amphibia to the mammalian form. The belligerence of the goat is well known. The belligerency, and that's spelled Belligerency, of the goat is well known and an apt symbol of the struggle for existence in which the weak perish unless able to outdistance their foes. The phase of the matter is sometimes expressed in the symbol when drawn as part fish and part antelope. Jacob, in the 49 chapters of Genesis, pronounces blessings upon his children, which symbolize the 12 signs. There he speaks of Naphtali, which is spelled Naphtali, as a, and I quote, hind, Hind, end quote, let loose. Thus, a very apt symbol of Capricorn for when the sun is there at each winter solstice. It is starting a race through the circle of 12 signs, which it must complete in a given time and year. Let's go on to Sagittarius. The next step in human unfoldment is not so much along the physical lines as long as along the. Let me read that again. The next step in Scooping, right? No, don't look at me skipping up. Sagittarius. Let's go. Respect on Sagittarius. When the sun leaves Capricorn by precession, it enters the sign Sagittarius. When the sun leaves Capricorn by precession, it enters the sign Sagittarius. And this is pictured in the symbolic zodiac as centaur, as a centaur, Centaur, which is part horse and part man. Thus, it shows aptly, the fact that we have evolved through the animal stage into the human. The centaur is in the act of drawing his bow, showing that there is something for which the human spirit on his pilgrimage through matter is seeking, that it aspires to something that lies beyond it. As a lofty idea, for the bow points upward to the stars. That's powerful. That's powerful. You are learning about the true essence and the true role of your zodiac. Capricorn. We just read Sagittarius. I want to read Sagittarius again. I want to make sure that we get this right. I put respect on Capricorn. We're going to put respect on every other zodiac after that. So, Sagittarius, once again, when the sun leaves Capricorn by precession, it enters the sign of Sagittarius. And this is pictured in the symbolic zodiac as a centaur, part horse and part man. Thus, it shows aptly, aptly, the fact that we have evolved through the animal stage into the human. The centaur is in the act of drawing his bow, showing that there is something for which the human spirit on its pilgrimage through matter is seeking, that it aspires to something that lies beyond it, as a lofty idea, for the bow points outward to the stars. All right, let's go to the Scorpio. Scorpio. The next step in human unfoldment is not so much along the physical lines as along the mental. Its nature is shown by the sun's passage through the sign Scorpio, which is pictorially represented as a serpent or scorpion, emblems of cunning and subtlety. Subtlety. It is plain from the symbol that the first faculty of the mind evolved by infant humanity was cunning. Let's read that again. It is plain from the symbol that the first faculty of the mind evolved by infant humanity was cunning, being cunning. Cunning, being cunning. And we still see that this is a characteristic trait among the lower races, the lower classes, and the lower natures, even among our present day humanity. Keep in mind, this book was published around 1914. That was Scorpio. Let's move on to Libra. Where we at? Libra. Let's move on to Libra. Well, when the sun enters the sign Libra, the scales, by precession, the balance of reason gives him a new start upon the evolutionary path. Under the care of divine instructors, man had at that time advanced to the point where, because of this new faculty, reason, he could be made fully responsible to nature's law, and thus reap what he has sown, that he might learn the lesson of life by actual experience, be able to reason out the connection between cause and effect, and in time learn to govern himself so as to progress further upon the path. Now, let's not forget what Libra just said here. Under the care of divine instructors, let's keep that in mind. Let's go on to Virgo. Virgo. Virgo, respectfully. Thus, under the guidance, and we're on Virgo now. Thus, under the guidance of now Virgo, you're going to love this. Thus, under the guidance of the spiritual hierarchies, focused through the signs of Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, and Libra, were his physical, moral, and mental attributes acquired, and he was equipped to commence the spiritual side of his evolution. Now, Virgo, what we're hearing before I continue reading is, now that you got the help of Capricorn, now that Sagittarius been through it for you, now, since you went through your process with Scorpion, and you went through it with that, and you went through your Libra, now that we're in this Virgo stage of evolution here now, talking about as far as this path, now that we're at the Virgo point of it all, listen to this. Thus, under the guidance, now listen, thus under the guidance of the spiritual hierarchies, focused through the signs of Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, and Libra were his physical, moral, and mental attributes acquired as he was equipped to commence the spiritual side of his evolution. We're talking about mankind here. The germ of this progress is hidden in the celestial virgin. The germ of this progress is hidden in the celestial virgin. To my fellow metaphysicians, to my Gnostics, to my divine feminine energy representatives, listen to this closely. The germ of this progress is hidden in the celestial virgin, the sign Virgo, which is the vehicle of the Immaculate Conception, the heavenly mother of Christ, not of one Christ only. So it's about to get real. It's about to get real. Church people, you've been told about one man that came and did one thing. But let's put respect on that one man, because if it wasn't for that one man and many other beings before him and the works that they put so he can go ahead and run so we can walk, then we wouldn't know, like right now, that it's not just about one man. It's about us awakening to our Christ consciousness power and knowing that we are what that one man said that we was going to be, greater. The heavenly mother of Christ, not of one Christ only, but of many. This is one of the most sublime signs of the zodiac and one of the most mystical, so fraught with hidden meanings that its full import cannot be fully understood, save when viewed by the internal light of spiritual illumination. Yearly at the winter solstice, the Immaculate Madonna is ascended at midnight, when the newborn sun commences to rise to the task of growing the grain and grape to save humanity from the cold and famine, which would inevitably result were he to remain in the southern declination. The sun is therefore an apt symbol of the Savior born to feed his flock on the spiritual bread of life. But as we must have eyes attuned to light to see the sun, so must the Christ be born within before we can perceive spiritual light. Let me stop there. Let me stop there. I might stop at an hour and then just do the other zodiacs later on. But I'm gonna give you an hour for sure. This is one of the most sublime signs of the zodiac. We're talking about Virgos now. And one of the most mystical, so fraught with hidden meanings that its full import cannot be fully understood, save when viewed by the internal light of spiritual illumination. Yearly at the winter solstice, the Immaculate Madonna is ascended at midnight. The Black Madonna, that is ascended at midnight, when the newborn sun commences to rise to the task of growing the grain and grape to save humanity from the cold and famine, which would inevitably result were he to remain in the southern declination. The sun is therefore an apt symbol of the Savior, born to feed his flock on the spiritual bread of life. But as we must have eyes attuned to light to see the sun, so must the Christ be born within. Before we can perceive spiritual light, as Angelus Cecius says, and I'm probably chopping the name up all type of ways, but it is spelled Angelus. I think we should write this name down. Angelus Silius. This is what he says. Though Christ 1,000 times in Bethlehem be born, and not within thyself, thy soul will be forlorn. And that's Forlorn. Though Christ 1,000 times in Bethlehem be born, quote, and not within thyself, thy soul will be forlorn. The cross of Golgotha thou lookest to in vain, unless within thyself it be set up again. How does it feel? And I might just stop here. I'll finish with Virgo. I'll finish with Virgo. Therefore, by the processional passions of the sun through the sign Virgo, the germinal impulse, and we're going to talk about more about impulse on part 2. We're going to talk more about impulse on chapter 2. Therefore, by the processional passions of the sun through the sign Virgo, the germinal impulse was given toward the birth of Christ within man, the mystical marriage of the lower self to the higher, the immaculate conception, and the divine motherhood which nourishes deep in its bosom unseen by a scoffing world, the newborn Christ, quote unquote, a actual experience, or actual experiences of a growing number of people, and without the celestial prototype fructified by the solar procession, and this would be an impossible. This would be a possibility. This would be impossibility. Neither has this idea been realized in such fullness during the past ages as today. The reason of this will appear when we wake up to the joint consideration of opposite signs of Zodiac. And Leo, I got you next presentation. But it's a little upsetting a little bit, not too much, that I am talking to my brothers and sisters, some that we went to school together, not this world, but we had spiritual school. We had the same teachers. And now we're teachers. You're letting this temporary illusional world, school as it may be, get to you by claiming depression and claiming anxiety. You a whole God. You a whole goddess. Allowing this mundane world to take a hold of you. I'll leave it there. Family, you know where to find me. Till then.